Before we get to the actual video, I wanted to let you guys know that I will be attending BookNet Fest in September. It's going to be from September 1st to September 2nd in Orlando, Florida, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to have booktubers, bookstagrammers, and bloggers all coming together. I think there are a couple of authors and publishing people involved as well, and it'll be a really fun day-long event where there will be different panels, there will be mixers, and I hope I see you guys there. Alright, on to the video now. Hi friends! So we're here today with our July book haul.
Yes.
And it's a pretty big one, but to be fair, there are a lot of library books, especially on his side. Alright, I guess you're gonna start us off?
Yeah, start off with some comics. So, Marilu, whom we love, apparently her Prodigy has come out in graphic novel form. I wanted to check that out. Figured it might be a quicker, faster read. And
I think it actually would work really well as a graphic novel. I've read the series, but I think it would be great as a graphic novel.
so wouldn't it be fun for me to review the comic version?
Yes, please. Oh my gosh. Also, in case you guys didn't know, Fan Mailbox is doing a special Warcross theme box. Just had to point it out there because this one got me the box, which is amazing. Also, in case you didn't know, I freaking love Warcross. Just saying.
A little obvious, but yeah, so
Like,
that was
I
her
really,
shameless plug.
really,
I'll have mine later.
So my first library book is Firebird by Mercedes Lackey, and I've never seen this cover before, but I love it. I don't remember what this one is about, but the reason I have it is because it is our Flights of Fantasy quarterly book club read. I can't wait because I've never read a Mercedes Lackey book, so hopefully she's a new author that I will fall in love with.
My next book would be the second installment in the Detective Comics Rebirth series. I reviewed the first.
Oh yeah, you mentioned
I mentioned the first one there. I just couldn't help it. So I am. It's trying hard not to just read this over and over again.
The next two books I'm going to show together because they are related. Funny story. So I have physical books out from the library, but I also have the audiobooks from Audible. And it's Illuminae and Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Mackie has read them and loved them. My friend Hannah has also read them and loved them. So guess who's also hoping to read them and love them?
She has to board that ship. Saw what I did there. Saw what I did there.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this. The plan is to read it the way Hannah did, which is to listen to the audio and then go back and flip through the books.
Next one is Mirror's Edge Exordium. So lots of things that I heard about this, really interested, kind of wanted to get into it.
The next thing I'm going to show you is like the surprise package I got from Fierce Reads, which is amazing. It's for Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sampler, and I was holding it upside down. Language of Thorns, sorry. And it's beautiful on the inside. Look at those illustrations, those borders. I'm really excited for the finished copy. Since we have an extra, we're probably gonna do a giveaway, so watch out for that. Anyway, it came with this fancy bookmark.
Extremely fancy.
A wood carved one.
It's very, very cool. It's got that.
And then
Carvey.
It's got this sticker that says Enter the Grishaverse, which this one has yet to do. And this pin that says Queen.
I'll probably read the Grishaverse while she watches Firefly. It's a thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Like simultaneously, like while she's going through every shiny episode.
So yeah, thanks Fierce Reads for that awesome package. I'm super excited for Language of Thorns.
Because I am a huge Alien fan, and I did read both the comics and the books, I thought, why not get some of the newer books, the expanded title. So this is Bug Hunt. My local library has closed down for renovation, but their kind of book delivery system is still ongoing, and so I kind of troll the recently returned book section, and I found this, so it's super cool.
Wish You Were Here by Renee Carlino. I have not read any of her books, but this is a adult contemporary romance. It's about a girl who is trying to make sense of her life. She's in her 20s, and she meets this guy named Adam. They have a one-night stand, and then, you know, years later, she is still thinking about that one-night stand, even though she is in a relationship with someone else. So I don't know if he comes back. I'm assuming he does. But it does sound really good, and I like the cover a lot.
I am new to the StarCraft game. Only really just played anything and everything last year.
It's true.
But so
nice cover too.
So I saw this again at the recently returned section, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna grab some of that. There's like Zerg and I don't even know what all this stuff is, but it's
so creepy.
I just kind of really want to know what's going on. I can't wait to see where this is set, because in honor of the StarCraft remake, which is coming out soon, it'd just be nice to jump straight back into that universe.
Next book is Kiss Me in New York, which I'm not ashamed to admit that I requested solely because I really love the title and the cover. It is about Charlotte and Anthony. They meet at the airport on New Year's Eve, and their flight is canceled, so they're stuck in New York, and so they spend an entire, I think, 12 hours or 24 hours together.
Finally got my hands on Howard Wallace PI, for those of you who may have read Howard Wallace. I think it was Shadow of a Pug, which is the second book, right? This is the origin story now to me. Of course, this was the first book, but to me it reads like an origin story. And it is, again, the lovely, lovely, I didn't even know existed and didn't know that I needed genre of middle grade noir. Yes, middle grade noir.
It's so funny.
I really want to do an entire read, like in that kind of noir.
I feel like you should do the audiobook.
Yeah, I would record the audiobook for myself for fun in the noir kind of tone with, like, there's this dude who has like smoker's cough and he's just narrating his life, but really he's like 12 years old and in a brown bathrobe.
It's a finished copy of The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare, and this one is a historical romance, and I love Tessa Dare. I enjoyed a lot of her books in the past. I haven't read one recently though, so this will be one for me. It's basically about a duke who's determined to have an heir, which is a typical romance thing, and he decides on a whim that this girl who suddenly appears wearing a wedding gown in his parlor will do so. Sounds like fun to me.
Again, David Baldacci, The Fix. I am
Aren't you reading
a huge David Baldacci fan. Yes, I'm reading it. It's part of my library haul. It's about Amos Decker. It's not one of his approachable assassins. I do miss that genre because Amos Decker was a former football player, and because of a weird football accident, he has hyperthymesia and synesthesia. So
synesthesia.
So he has a total recall of absolutely everything, and he does it in colors, which would make for a great art film.
Yeah,
but
actually.
But he does it to solve crimes because he remembers anything and everything.
Pretty cool. You could also turn that into an art film.
Right. Right, and this is the third book in the in the series, and I would rather go back to Will Robbie and the others. I love those guys, but Amos is growing on me.
My next book is one I received in the mail unsolicited. I did not know anything about it, but it does sound pretty good. It's 16 Ways to Break a Heart by Lauren Strasnick, and it's about a couple who are in a relationship and eventually they break up because differences. And in the entire story, the guy in the couple is following 16 letters that the girl has hidden where she writes about their relationship, and she's hidden them in places that only he would know because of their relationship. And apparently in the 16th letter, there's some sort of secret that gets dropped. Sounds pretty good to me. It's actually really short too.
So again, David Baldacci. This is a YA book that he wrote called The Finisher.
Is that the first one?
So I want to know what he writes like, since I'm a fan of his work. I want to know what he writes like in YA fantasy, or at least this looks like YA fantasy. And there's quite a few books, and you've even got Brandon Mull doing some blurbs here. So
nice.
I'm interested to see what he's got.
Next book is one that I accepted a request for, and that is The One That Got Away by Melissa Pimentel, and it is a modern day retelling of Persuasion. And that's pretty much all I know about it, but I really, really love this cover though.
Court of Fives.
I've read that one.
I thought you'd like, yeah, oh.
I haven't read the rest of it. It's actually a finished trilogy now.
Okay, so she's read the first book, now I'm gonna give it a shot, see if I need to get the rest of it out.
The Devil's Cut, which is the third and final Bourbon Kings novel by J.R. Ward. I have read the rest of this series. It reads like a soap opera, but still so much fun. A southern soap opera, mind you. And it centers around a family who have a lot of secrets going on, and they're big in the bourbon business, which is what all of these bourbon references have to do in the titles.
The next book is Novice from the Summoner series.
Y'all.
I know, I saw these books at BEA, and I thought it would be super cool to kind of figure this out. Searched it at the library, found it,
fantasy?
And it's definitely fantasy.
He has a dragon on his shoulder.
He has a dragon, a tiny dragon on his shoulder.
He has a baby dragon on his shoulder.
I know, it's gonna be awesome.
The Glasstown Game by Catherine Valente, and I also really like this cover. It's a fantasy novel that's about the Bronte sisters, and they basically made a land called Glasstown, and they play imaginary games in it.
Red Queen, Victoria Aveyard. I had a chance to see Victoria Aveyard and
I'd be very interested to see what he thinks about.
And Saman Chainani do like a joint panel. They're apparently like writer besties, in which case that's like goals. Like it would be so awesome to be friends with an actual writer, and you're both kind of published and successful.
I'm friends with an actual writer.
I'm friends with an actual writer too. And the fanfic is important. I'm so interested to see, because I am a Saman Chainani fan. A lot of their fans apparently like bleed into each other's
I'm very interested
fan bases.
Next thing I got was Spinning by Tilly Walden, yes. And it's a figure skating graphic novel, which, figure skating, love it. And I also love that it's about a girl who is just trying to figure out everything in her life.
This is my copy of The Jedi Doth Return. So I know I totally skipped Empire. It's probably called The Empire Striketh Back or something like that.
The Empire Striketh Back.
But this is the really fun Shakespeareanized version of the entire Return of the Jedi script. So happy to have a table read with my friends.
The last book that I got from publishers is That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston. Again, beautiful cover. It's about 3 teens, I believe, who meet in a near future world where the British Empire did not fall and the United States never rose. And first of all, I love the British. That's like really the only reason I picked this up aside from the cover. And I'm really excited.
I do too.
Just saying. I'm really excited about this one, so you guys can look forward to hearing me talk about it.
My turn to shameless plug because, as I mentioned, I have writer friendship goals, right? I do have a friend who is a published writer.
Yay!
And she published a book of poems called After the Sunstone. This is by Mitch Alagao, dear friend, families that are friends and friends that are families, right? So I'm close to her family in that sense. She writes my life. I'll write a separate review about this thing, but actually, no, that's not true. She writes her life, but then a lot of the stuff that she writes that's been condensed into good poetry resonates with mine. And I think that as an author, that's some of the best things that you want to do, is that when you put something out there, it resonates with people, and it may not resonate in the same way, but there's that thread of, oh my gosh, me too, but not really, but yes, it's just beautiful. So pick it up. It's an awesome book. If you like poetry, I highly recommend. So hello, Mitch.
I'm gonna show you a bunch of books that I picked up when I went to Rhode Island with Rachel for a weekend. You guys can read about our adventures in the post that I will link. We actually visited 2 different bookstores, but I only bought books at one, Cellar Books, which is amazing. But on the way home, we managed to stop at Book Barn, which is in Connecticut, which was also amazing. So quick rundown. We have On the Way to the Wedding, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and The Duke and I, which are all part of Julia Quinn's Bridgerton series. If you guys haven't heard me talk about it before, I love this series. It's 7 historical romance novels, and they're all about different siblings in one huge family, which I absolutely adore. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton is my favorite, but when I saw these for such a good deal, obviously I had to pick them up since I don't have them here. I somehow wound up starting a Frances Hodgson Burnett collection because I really love A Little Princess, but it is now expanded to include Secret Garden.
It's technically a Secret Garden and Little Princess collection.
So, Secret Garden, this is a pretty edition, and I believe Mackie says that he actually read the same edition.
Yeah, for those of you who watched our terribly long bookshelf tour, I actually
kudos to you if you watched the entire thing,
awesome,
by the way.
Right, that you lasted.
We really appreciate it.
All through. But I actually have the exact same copy of this same book, pink cover, everything. I bought it with my own money as a child, and love The Secret Garden. Must have read it like 8 billion times. So to have this come to our home,
it's amazing.
It's
a random found. It's a random find. And then we have matching editions of A Little Princess and The Secret Garden, and these are beautiful, gorgeous. These illustrations. But my favorite thing about them is actually this, because the hardcover is gorgeous, and it actually goes all the way to the end papers. So we have these 3 new additions to our collection. Okay, now we get to talk about my favorite thing that I can't even describe it.
No, I'll describe it. Are you kidding? I have.
Okay. So another thing that we collect.
I can do a term paper on this.
Another thing we collect are Tamara Pierce novels, and
because
we collect
Tamara
everything
Pierce is
we
amazing.
can find.
Please
so we
pick her
have
up.
this very interesting mismatched collection of her stuff, and I honestly, like, I was not really expecting to find any of her books, and then
because you have to understand that Linus, that the Alana series came out in 1983. At least the first book. Thereabouts, and I could be wrong about that, but it stuck in my head because I was born in that year, and so for Alana to have come out in the year that I was born, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So
I have so many feelings.
Flash forward, and I'm pretty sure that the rest of it came out before the 90s, or maybe during, and so presenting
the best cover I've ever seen.
This is a nice market paperback.
Yes.
A paperback version of Lioness Rampant. Oh yes, no. We're gonna focus. We're gonna zoom in on this. If you want to look at this thing, here, hide your head here so that it starts focusing. There, right there. Look at that. You see that? So you've got like the retro hair, and then you've got giant stone. For those of you who know the story, what even? And then you've got like that kind of weird circlet headband thing, which I don't know if she's going to exercise class because that was huge in the day.
Oh my god.
Like, can you imagine?
Aerobics.
Can you imagine she has like aerobics wear underneath that kind of silky green flowy? I don't even know what this is. This is, I'll tell you one thing though. Oh, she has a really cool like sword hilt. That is not that sword, whatever that is. Or maybe it is. But the best part are the weird kind of like long tassel-y earrings that are, I don't know, blue griffin. I don't even know.
Why is she wearing
Why is she wearing long earring feathers?
Understand.
But I just love
No,
this.
but the tagline is amazing.
Don't mistake us. We love this
Oh,
so
no,
much.
we love this
This is
series.
the prize of all of the really pretty covers we have.
This is actually
the
my favorite
prize
one now.
of our Tamara
No, but
Pierce
he has to read the
collection.
tagline because it's amazing.
She's conquered evil, but can she conquer her deepest desire? Which, if you've read this book, has nothing to do with the story.
Woo!
This is why we love this so much. It
I'm
makes
so proud of this.
no sense.
I'm so proud of it.
It's actually, or oh my god, writing prompt. What is the story that goes along with this?
Definitely not what's in between those covers.
Oh man, I would like, you know, is she the lioness inside? I mean, I don't know, but this is great.
But all things aside, all kidding aside, we really, really love Tamara Pierce, and we really love this series, and
Which
it's
is
just
why we love the absurdity of this cover. I
amazing.
mean, I don't know if Tammy's ever gonna watch. Yes, first name basis because we're awesome. I don't know
Wait,
if Tammy.
no, not even just first
She
name.
says to
Nickname
She
basis.
tells people to call her Tammy. But anyway, but Tamara, you know, Pierce, if you ever see this, I don't know if you still have a copy of this, but this is amazing.
Our favorite thing by far.
Our
really.
favorite thing by far.
Moving on, I got a couple of birthday presents early, and one of them is from my friends Jamie and Effie, and they brought it back from their trip to Europe from when they were in Paris, I think. And it's these beautiful editions of The Secret Garden and Anne of Green Gables. These are the Victoria and Albert editions, and they're
Ooh.
so pretty.
Pretty covers.
I just love them so much. I don't particularly collect Anne of Green Gables. That's Rachel from Hello Jelly, and I will link you to her amazing collection, which I contributed a lot to. But I do collect this. I hope they come up with a Little Princess. I really do, because it would
Yeah.
be amazing to have a Little Princess cover that looks like
Yeah,
this.
that
So,
will go well with the collection.
thank you, Jamie and Effie. Also, if you guys don't know, both books are about very fierce, imaginative heroines, and they're children's classics. And both Mike and I really love
Both of them.
Anne and Mary.
So I trolled the Strand recently, and it's just for those of you who may or may not know,
Trolled the Strand.
Well, you know, it's a super
Trolled.
fun 4-story bookstore in
Love the Strand,
in
guys.
New York, and they have a little used book section. And I found, I thought it was the first book, but apparently it was the same book that I had on the cover, but
okay,
a
you
mass
really
market
like that book,
paperback.
though.
But I did like this book because it introduced another.
approachable.
So see this, this.
I was about to go
The
with-
Hit is a story about technically still Will Robbie. It's the second book in the Will Robbie series. He's an approachable assassin because he's an assassin with a heart. The first book was about him saving the life of a young girl that I don't know if he was supposed to kill or not, but he just didn't pull the trigger, and that makes him, I'd say that makes him approachable, wouldn't it? The
yeah.
second book introduces a new character to the mix, a female assassin.
Oh yeah, you did
And
really like
this
that book.
is why I really love that. So at first I thought it was The Innocent, but apparently it's The Hit, and I'm just keeping this, and maybe I'll collect the others. The other thing that I got was The Gate Thief.
That cover though.
That cover, first time in paperback, so isn't that the landmark? I do appreciate Orson Scott Card's storytelling abilities, and so I am interested in what the Gate Thief series is like. Apparently this is like the second or the third in the series, so I'm gonna need to hunt out for the first two.
My sister Mel went to Canada. She went to Toronto, I believe, and she got to go to Chapters Indigo. And so she brought me 2 books. First is this edition of Anne of Green Gables, because yes, apparently now we're gonna have a collection. This is a really pretty Canadian edition of it, and it feels fitting for her to have come from Canada and brought me this book
Because Anne is Canadian.
And really quick, this is the Indigo exclusive edition of A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas,
Hello,
which is
Sarah.
the 3rd book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series.
She's like the
And it
nicest
has
ever.
fan
Oh,
art,
hey!
which I actually own in actual fan art form. Isn't that swell?
Oh, that's gorgeous. Look
I
at
love that. Anyway, I really, really love this series and this book, and you guys probably already know that. You can see my Sarah shelves back there. So happy. The next 2 books are part of the same series. It's the 100 Oak series by Miranda Keanly. We have Defending Taylor and Coming Up for Air. I wanted to get this one because I needed to complete my collection, and I love
Sporty.
Miranda. And it's about a girl, a soccer player, who gets in trouble for covering up for something that her boyfriend does, and so she ends up having to deal with the consequences of that. And Coming Up
Sounds
for
like
Air
pregnancy.
is amazing. I really, really love this one. It's about a swimmer, and she's been focused on her athletic career her whole life, and she realizes that there are a few things she would like to do before the end of high school. And she goes up to college and, you know, tries to qualify for the Olympics, and she recruits her best friend to help her get some of these things done. And oh my goodness, it's just so cute, and I just love it so much. Okay, I really, really love this book.
Apparently so.
This book I've been meaning to buy for a very long time because I really enjoyed it, and it is Starflight by Melissa Landers. It's the first in a duology. Solara,
That's a nice name.
yeah, is determined to get to a certain place, and the only way for her to do so is to become an indentured servant to this guy that she doesn't particularly like.
Criminy.
It's so good though. It's
Okay,
so
fine.
good. I really enjoyed it.
Alrighty then.
I love it.
Because
Space hijinks. That's all I got for you.
It's indentured space slaves, apparently.
Yeah,
Alright.
no, yeah. Monstrous Volume 2, which I'm very
Volume 2.
excited about because I enjoyed the first one. It's got an Asian main character. It's a bit more wordy than most graphic novels, but I still really enjoy the world building and everything. Can't
I hope
wait
we can
for
get, I hope Marjorie is going to be
Yeah.
at New York Comic Con again. We can get it signed.
2 more books that are related to each other. We have And I Darken and Now I Rise by Kirsten White, which are part of the same series. And in this one, it's historical fiction, and it's about a girl who is basically the female version of Vlad the Impaler.
Welcome to the Slipstream.
It's a pretty cover.
It's a pretty cover. I really like the cover, and I think it's one of those contemporary ones, so we will find out what it's like.
So on the same trip to the Strand, I actually found 2 pretty additions to add to my fairy tale books collection. First is this Michael Forman illustrated edition of the Brothers Grimm Folk Tales, which has this really pretty blue and dark blue cover. And I like the illustration style in it a lot, actually. It's a little bit
Oh,
cartoony.
it's gorgeous.
But yeah, fun times, see, pretty stuff like that. So again, if you guys didn't know, I collect fairy tales and different editions of them. I'm particularly drawn to the Brothers Grimm because they were the ones I grew up with. So yeah, so
And again,
excited for this in my collection.
I want to plug my headcanon again because I loved the show Grimm. Well, loved is a loose word, but I did watch it all the way through and follow it. And wouldn't it be cool if the Grimm's fairy tales, and they had Grimms who like had all of the creepy crawly monsters, wouldn't it be cool if they were the Anderson family instead of the Grimm family, and the Andersons dealt with the Fae?
Cool, right?
Mermaids? No, somebody make it happen. Anyway, she points to me. I'm like, all right.
And I also picked up this edition of the Annotated Brothers Grimm, which is a bunch of their fairy tales with annotations, obviously. And I've been meaning to get this one. It's just a little bit expensive. So when I found it for an extremely good price, and I say extremely good price, secondhand at the Strand, I was like, of course we're gonna buy it. Of course, please, of course. I love it so much. I'm so happy. Now to figure out how to make it fit on that shelf.
Her problems. I try to help. Alrighty. Last of our haul,
Which is a very exciting
which is a
thing.
very exciting thing because
Apparently we're collecting more manga now.
we're collecting more manga. Well, because
That's where we live.
Because we've grown up and have jobs. Those of you who've seen the bookshelf tour, we know that we love Fushigi Yugi.
I love Fushigi Yugi. I put myself through that 3 times.
Oh god, I only needed it 1 time. And which is funny because I was the one who brought it to her, and she's like, hey, you should watch this. My brother and I love this series. And she's like, okay. She watches it like 3 times, and my brother and I are like,
It's
dude,
so
just the once is enough,
It's
right?
so good.
Just the once
it's
was
so good.
It's okay for me not to go back to that world. However, the only other time I will go back to that world is through ba-ba-da-ba.
Ta-da!
So this is the Genbu series. So I was able to
Genbu is another one of the.
No, okay, so in Fushigi Yugi, for those of you who don't know, it's a story about 2 girls who find a book, and one of them gets sucked into the book, and in that book, the only way to get out is for
To become a priestess.
is the person to be the priestess of one of the 4 sky gods, right? From north, south, east, and west. So the main characters of the Fushigi Yugi series were, well, at least the first main character, I won't spoil the rest, but the first main character was the priestess to the sky god Suzaku. So the big phoenix-like god thing, right?
Now I really want to watch it again.
Now, thing is, there's allusions to other priestesses from our world that have gone into their world in the past, right? So Fushigi happens, and there's the just Suzaku, but they allude to Genbu, which is the turtle god, and her priestess being summoned ages ago along with Byakko, right? So this is the prequel. This is what happened in the 40s or 50s or whatever it is.
I don't even care when it happened. It's just.
And so we see familiar characters who were just shadows in Fushigi Yugi, and this is their story now. So this is pure prequel joy. I hear the Byakko arc is being done now, if it's not already. So even that, I'm like,
Wow, we're
gonna
basically
get
gonna
all of
collect
that.
all of this. So.
Because that was really my favorite arc. Like that was I mean, Genbu's fun and lovely, but that's the one. So got these all on second hand.
Exciting times! Those are all the books that we picked up in July, which was quite a lot. Which is us luck trying to read, guys. Also, thank you so much to everyone who has been commenting and who has said really nice things to us. We never expect those things, so it's kind of like
ever. So it's like, oh, people like actually watch these.
Like, we are especially grateful for anyone who actually sat through the entirety of our bookshelf tour, which is an hour and a half long, and I know that's a commitment, guys. I understand.
It's just, yeah.
It's just, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. I really am. We had fun doing it, and we hope you guys continue to watch us. We'll be seeing you guys next week with a recap for whatever we've read so far in August. Bye!